And so hard to keep up with these younger guys. Sergeant Orr, is he on there?
He's here.
There he is. I see him now. Yeah, please. Yeah, would you get me some water, please, Vicki? Oh, you got one? Thank you. Thank you, Annie. Well, when we were out today, we had some people that said that they wanted to down here this evening. So hopefully that's going to be something good.
Mark, did you talk to Eric about the fire department for the 17th?
No, I did not, but I can.
I'll talk to him tomorrow. I'll remind him about it, try and get them lined up.
So I got Cone Ice, I got the taco truck. I'm trying to get Game RV because the one I used to use went out of business because of COVID. So I'm trying to find another one.
Eric had the signs made, so we'll have the signs out 30 days in advance. Sergeant Orr, someone talked to you about that event too, right?
Who?
Sergeant Orr, we talked to them about that too.
I was gonna send him an email this weekend, so I forgot to. He was already off the call when he talked about it, so I'll reach out to him then.
Okay.
I'm gonna send you an email, Sergeant Orr, about National Night Out.
You got the gaming truck you said too, Mark?
Not
right?
yet. The one I used to use went out of business, so I gotta find another one. I'm trying.
Really?
Yeah, COVID. We can't do any big events.
COVID, huh?
Yeah.
Terrible. Hey, Mark, second page of Triton's flyer, I talked about Spring Utility Minute Water Smart. That's a pretty good logo. All we need to probably do is add the Kona stuff at the bottom to give it to us, you know? That's it look pretty good on the sign, don't you agree?
Yeah.
It says Spring Creek Utility Water Smart, November 17th, gives the address. Can y'all send that to me or Eric by chance?
Yeah, sure. Definitely.
Yeah, if you could, is it hard for you to add the right hand display? Can you add the Kona Ice and food truck to the bottom of that sign? Is that hard to do?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think you gotta give them the picture.
What? Triton has it. She's the one I'm looking at, right? On your presentation. Can you
on the water?
On the water
to have the back of it, to have the front,
yeah, where it says your second slide right now, going down. You got two side by side together. If we can add to that slide Kona Ice and food trucks, maybe that left hand slide. We can just kind of borrow that, put that on the sign for making if possible.
So you want both pieces of artwork?
Well, yeah, I guess we put on. You want to put on both sides like that, Mark, or just put the event and what's going to be there on both sides, right?
Yeah, they just put it down. It's going to be there. Should be fine.
Yeah, so if you can put the Kona Ice on the left-hand sign and put put all three logos right on the bottom of that Water Smart event sign. Has a date, time. We'll just make we're making 40 signs to stick out the yard and stuff. Next week it'll be after.
John, if you want, John and Mark, we can circle back to this after, but I believe Megan just told us that we are now live.
Okay, great.
And so going to go ahead and start recording on my end. All right. Well, good afternoon and welcome to Spring Creek Utilities' first National Night In. Due to COVID-19, Spring Creek has partnered with Triton Consulting Group to bring this presentation online to you. A great event has been put together tonight that includes a scavenger hunt with prizes, safety information from Montgomery County Constable Precinct 3, voter information from the League of Women's Voters, and water conservation tips for inside and outside your home from the district's operator, Municipal Operations. But before we get started, let me introduce the board and begin our presentation. And the Spring Creek Utility Board of Directors is Dale Healy, Claude Ember, Fred Sunderman, Mark Fusco, and Les Gurley. Spring Creek would also like to proudly introduce the Water Smart event, which will be held at Lock Ridge Park on November 17th from 4 to 7 p.m. We will have fun Water Smart activities, bounce house, food trucks, snow cones, and much more. Please mark your calendar and come out and see us at Lock Ridge Park on November 17th. Tonight's event has even more fun. We've created a digital scavenger hunt, which you can work on in between our presenters tonight. All of the answers can be found on either the Spring Creek Utility District's website or Municipal Operations website. To participate in the scavenger hunt, please go to Spring Creek Utility District's National Night Out page, which is springcreekud.org/National Night Out, and scroll down to the bottom and you'll see the scavenger hunt link. There's going to be 10 questions with one bonus question. And in order for to be eligible for prizes, you must be an in-district resident. Prizes will be awarded to randomly drawn winners from the scavenger hunt and notified by email. We would like to thank our local businesses in the district for helping us out with tonight's prizes, and that includes Whataburger, Chick-fil-A, Louisiana Kitchen, Kroger, Woodson, and Starbucks Coffee. And without further ado, let's jump into tonight's first guest speaker. Introducing Sergeant Orr with Montgomery County Constable Precinct 3, here to present crime prevention and home safety presentation. Sergeant Orr, please take it away. Sergeant, we cannot hear you. We apologize for the technical difficulties, and as Sergeant Orr is working out what's going on, we'll go back to take a look at the Spring Creek National Night Out webpage. And here you can see to join us online, to have safety presentation from the Montgomery County Constable Precinct 3. We're going to have water conservation and safety tips from Municipal Operations. We're going to have a special presentation on smart meters and how they're used. We're also going to have a guest speaker from the League of National Women Voters to talk to us about voter registration. And also, we discussed the online scavenger hunt, prizes, and giveaways. To access the scavenger hunt, please continue to scroll down. And here you will be able to sign up and view the scavenger hunt online. And again, the website is springcreekud.org/National Night Out.
There's Sergeant Orr.
Sergeant Orr, can you hear us? No, sir, we cannot hear you just yet.
Do you want to skip to the women's voters presentation and come back to Sergeant Orr?
Yeah, let's do that. Sergeant Orr, if you can reach out with Megan, she'll try and help diagnose. And we're gonna move on to, give me just one moment.
Okay. John, are you able to hear us?
I hear you just fine. Don't hear me?
Yes, I was just looking. I did not see with Sergeant Orr the same thing that you have, but so I have no idea why. Okay. You're on mute.
I sure am. Thank you, sir. Okay, our next guest speaker is from the League of Women Voters to talk to us about voter registration. Marty Cade, will you please take it away?
Yes, thank you, Amanda, and thank you for having me. I am the president of the League of Women Voters of Montgomery County. And we have been in Montgomery County for about 2 years. And it's a wonderful organization, and I encourage anybody who wants to join to do so. And I'll tell you how to do that later in the program. Okay. So the League of Women Voters has been around for 100 years since the women got the right to vote. The 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was passed in 1920 after decades of struggle for the women to get the right to vote. And we have been working ever since then to empower voters, defend democracy, And we envision a democracy where every person has the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate. The League believes in the power of voters to create a more perfect democracy. Okay. So if you'd like to become a member, there are several layers of membership. We have student fees, and that's for students in any grade from high school down to whoever wants to join. We do have some high school and several college members. An individual membership is $55 per year. You can get a family membership for $75. And we even have several male members. You do not have to be a woman to be a member of the League of Women Voters. We encourage and invite all men that would like to join as well. And there's a link, which I believe this will be available to you after the presentation. So if you're interested in joining, there's a link where you can go and sign up. Okay. So you can also follow us on all of the social media. We have a Facebook site, we have a Twitter site, and if you want to get text reminders from us about important voting dates, reminders when we might be having meetings, you can text 80123. We currently have over 600 followers on our League of Women Voters page, and it's a very active page, so go out and take a look if you want to learn more about us. Okay. So this is the heartbeat of the League of Women Voters. Obviously, voters is in our title, and so we consider voting extremely important, and your vote matters. So here are a few dates to remember for the upcoming election. In Texas, you can vote early, October 13th through October 30th. And if you do early voting, you can vote in any early voting precincts in the county. So there's several throughout the county. If you happen to be up in Magnolia for some reason, but you don't live there, you can go to the polling place in Magnolia, the early voting place. So you don't have to go to your precinct to vote in early voting. Election day is November 3rd. You do have to go to the precinct you're in to vote on November 3rd. Some deadlines to remember. To register to vote is October 5th, which is this coming Monday. If you haven't registered to vote and you want to, you'll need to go down to the Montgomery County Elections Office and actually go to the office and register to vote in person. You don't have time to send a voter registration form in at this point, so you'll have to do it in person. There could be some voter registration events going on throughout the county tomorrow and Monday, but you'll have to, you'll just have to look and see if there's anything in your area. So if you want to apply to vote by mail, you have to request and have your ballot, request your ballot by October 23rd. And again, you would go out, there's the website's right down here, montgomeryvotes.org. If you go out there, it will show you how to request a mail-in ballot. And you have to have those back to the county office by October 23rd. And that can be postmarked, but they have to be in by then. If you want to vote by mail, I encourage you to request a ballot as soon as possible. Mark your ballot and get it back in as soon as possible to avoid any kind of mail delays. And the vote by mail ballot must be in by November 3rd. So you can drop it off in person if you want to. I'll show you again what you need to do that a little bit later, but those ballots must be in by November 3rd. There may be some leeway with COVID. They may make some changes to that, but the important thing is to try to get it in by then. And again, montgomeryvotes.org is very, very useful. It's all election information. There's sample ballots out there. If you live in Harris County, it's harrisvotes.org. And our big thing, vote411.org, is actually put together by the League of Women Voters. And I encourage you to go out there. It will tell you what races you're eligible to vote in. We're in the process of getting candidate responses to questions we ask them. So hopefully candidates in your races will have responded and you can read what they say. You can get where you vote, your precinct, and where to vote. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. So I encourage everyone to go out there and take a look at vote411.org. Okay. The League strongly believes an informed voter is a powerful voter. And this is another one of our core values, is education. We want to educate the voters, and that's one of the big things about 411. It's just full of information that you need to make a informed decision for the election. Okay. So this is for Vote 411. We take all the elections in Montgomery County, from the president all the way down to MUDs, and Spring Creek District Utility District will be in there. Hopefully all the candidates will go out and answer our questions. But it's a wonderful tool for voters because it provides one place for voters to go to get information about the elections. And you can actually go in and create a ballot, which is your ballot that shows your races and your candidates, and you can actually choose what candidate you want to vote for and print the ballot out and take it with you to your voting place. So there's a lot on the ballot this year because we didn't have the elections in May. So all the elections that we were scheduled to have in May are now in November. So there's a lot on the ballot. And one way to keep track of everything is to print out a ballot from your vote411.org. Okay. So this is what the page will look like if you go into vote411.org. You can register to vote. It's too late to do that now, but in the future, if you need to register to vote, you can do this. You can check to see if you're registered to vote. And that's a good thing to do because some people think they're registered to vote, but they're not. And then you can find out what's on your ballot, like I was talking about. So you would enter your address there and you would hit the submit button, and that will take you to the races that you're eligible to vote in. And it's just a really, really cool application. Okay. All right, so let's talk about voting. I'm sure most of you know you need a photo ID to vote these days. So any of these will work: a driver's license, election ID certificate, personal ID card, Texas handgun license, military ID card, and even your passport, the Booker card, will work. Now, so if your license expired more than 4 years, in other words, if your license expired before November 3rd, 2016, then you're going to need some other photo ID because your license can only be expired for 4 years. Now, if it is expired after November 3rd, 2016, you can still use it. And people over 70 can use any kind of expired ID. They're exempt from that. Okay. And if you don't have a photo ID, go ahead and vote. You sign a form and you can present one of these other documents: a voter registration card, birth certificate, utility bill, bank statement, government check, paycheck, or any other government document with voter's name and address on it. And the ID, the address on your ID, like your driver's license and your voter registration card, does not need to match. If you've moved within the county and haven't updated your voter registration card, you're fine. If you've moved into the county and not done a voter registration, then that's going to be an issue because the Montgomery County doesn't have you registered if you've moved into the county. And so, and the name on your voter ID and the registration, when you go in, the election clerk will pull up your voter information, and a lot of times the name on your ID might not match your voter registration. Like your voter registration might say William Jones, but your ID might say Bill Jones, and that's fine. There should be no issue with that as long as it's substantially similar. Okay. So there's some things you can do at the polling places and some things you can't do at the polling places. One of the main things you can do at the polling place, obviously, is vote. But if you want to vote, then here's some things you should not do while you're standing in line waiting to get into the polling place. You cannot be handing out or carrying political signs or literature. Now, a lot of times the candidates try to hand literature to voters as they're coming in. I mean, if that happens and it's in your hand, that's fine. Just don't try and pass it out to somebody else while you're standing in line, and don't carry any political signs in line. The other thing that a lot of people don't really know is please don't wear any political clothing that has any kind of political statement on it of either party or any candidate. That includes shirts, hats, scarves, pins, buttons, anything you can think of. If it has a candidate's name on it or if it has a political party on it, the election clerks will ask you to remove that. And if it's a shirt and you can turn it inside out, that will be fine. But they quite possibly will prevent you from going in to vote if you have any kind of political clothing on. Also, if you're standing in line, don't have any political discussions or opinions talking. It's just not allowed. This is all in the election code, so no political discussions, and don't talk about your opinions while you're standing in line to voting. You can't use your phone once you enter the polling place. They will most likely ask you to mute it, turn it off, and put it in your pocket or someplace. They're not allowed. You cannot take pictures. You can't pull up your ballot on the phone. You just can't do that. So remember that. Now, you can print out your ballot choices from vote411.org and take that with you. Or you can write down the choices you want to make. You can take paper in, but you just can't take your phone and use that once you're in the polling location. Okay? So who can vote by mail? You can vote by mail in Texas if you're 65 years or older, if you're handicapped in some way or disabled in some way, if you're incarcerated but still have the right to vote, you can vote by mail, or if you're out of the county during early voting and on election day. All of these people can vote by mail. Okay. So here are some common errors that happen when you vote by mail. You get a ballot, you mark your ballot, and you sign your ballot, and then you have to put it in an envelope, and you have to sign the envelope as well. And the thing people miss is sometimes they don't sign the envelope. And if the envelope's not signed, they could throw your ballot out. And a lot of times the signature does not match that on the application. So you have to actually apply for a ballot by mail. You have to send in an application to the election office. And if your signature is way off the application and then your ballot by mail, they're going to question that and they could toss your ballot. And also, if the ballot's mailed too late, they will toss your ballot. And again, there may be some leeway this year because of the problems we've had with the post office and stuff. I don't know if Texas has done anything about. Normally, ballots have to be postmarked by November 3rd and arrived in the. So that could be. The date could be a moving target. We're not sure what it is yet. But the best thing to do is to get it in as early as possible, just so you know it doesn't get there late. Okay. So some other things to remember. So if you've requested a ballot by mail, you'll get your ballot in the mail and you'll fill it out, and there'll be an envelope to put it in, and you'll sign the envelope. and it takes 2 stamps on this ballot. It's a big ballot, it's heavy ballot, so you need to put 2 stamps on it to be sure it gets there. And the other thing is you can deliver this ballot to the Montgomery County Elections Office on Airport Road in person. Now, if you do that, be sure to wear a mask, bring a photo ID, because they'll ask you to sign a roster that you turned your ballot in. And if you do that, you need to do that no later than November 3rd. And if you need handicap assistance, there's a number you can call. They will come out and help you. Now, one thing about mail ballots, let's say you requested a ballot, you got a ballot in the mail, but you decide you want to vote in person. So that's fine. You can certainly do that, but please take your ballot by mail with you, and you will hand it in to the judge at your polling location. If you don't take your ballot with you and go to vote in person, they will let you vote, but it'll be a provisional vote, and it's not quite as clean. So if you decide after you've received your ballot by mail you want to go vote in person, you can certainly do that. Just take your ballot by mail with you to turn it in to your election judge. Okay. So here's a little graph. This is about the number of citizen voting age population. That's people 18 years and older. So these, the number that have actually registered is in purple. So in the United States, 89% of the citizen voting age population has registered, and 61% of those voted. In Texas, 88% are registered and only 52% vote. Montgomery County does a little better. 92% of the citizen voting age population has registered to vote, but only 60% vote. And the League of Women Voters would love to see that 60% number higher. 92% is pretty good. We would always like to improve that, but we really would like to see more people vote. The more people that vote and are informed, the better and stronger our democracy can be. So we'd like to try and improve that number. Okay. So that wraps it up. Your vote matters in 2020. Don't think it doesn't matter, because it does. And the League of Women Voters has lots of information out there to help you become an informed voter. There's a lot on the ballot this year. So if you go to vote411.org and look at it, it will give you lots of information. It'll tell you where you can go to vote. And, your vote matters. Your vote is very important, and we want you to go vote safely. And so we hope to see everybody at the polls. Early voting is a great idea. If you can't make early voting, go vote November 3rd. I'll be working at the polls in Montgomery County. And so, this is our heartbeat. The League of Women Voters believes your vote matters and believes an informed voter is better for our democracy. So that's it. Any questions? All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for having me, and good luck on the rest of your meeting.
And Marty, we thank you very much for sharing this wonderful information with us. We hope that this information gets, crossed on to and passed on to the residents, and that answers quite a bit of questions, or any questions that they may have had. So we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. I believe we're going to try and circle back to Sergeant Orr at this time. Sergeant Orr, are you with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can. Give me just a moment and your presentation will be up. I'd like to introduce you guys to Sergeant Orr with Montgomery County Precinct 3, here to present the crime prevention and home safety presentation. Sergeant Orr.
Thank you. So again, I'm Sergeant Orr. Work for Montgomery County Precinct 3 Constable's Office. Worked at this agency for just about 8 years now. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about crime prevention and home safety. Okay. So a little bit about our agency. This is the man with the plan. This is Constable Ryan Gable. Again, he's Constable of Montgomery County Precinct 3. Okay. So for the Spring Creek Utility District area, there are 5 deputies and 1 sergeant assigned to that patrol area specifically, on top of our other deputies out on patrol. So who are these people? These names are Deputy Sarah Cruz, Deputy Maricela Diaz, Deputy Blake Hoyt, Deputy Garrett Kelso, and Deputy Carswell. Okay. So crime prevention defined. So crime prevention is the anticipation, recognition, and appraisal of a crime risk, and the initiation of actions to remove or eliminate that risk. What does that mean? To simplify it, it means it is an attempt to reduce and deter crime and criminals. Okay. So, some statistics, approximately 11.5 out of 10,000 people will fall victim to some type of property crime every year. There is about 1 burglary every 13 to 15 seconds, and there are between 2.3 and 2.6 million robberies every year. Okay, so in 2010, there were 2,184 reported burglaries in Montgomery County. The average loss, the dollar loss for this was $2,100, and most of the burglaries, or most burglaries in general, I should say, happen on weekdays between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. So essentially, when people are at work, they're away from home. This is when criminals like to do this kind of stuff. What do they target? They generally target homes that they know don't have alarms. So houses without alarms are 2 to 3 times more likely to be broken into. Okay. Okay. So, crime of opportunity. A crime of opportunity is a crime that is committed without being planned ahead of time. This is when a person sees that he or she has the chance to commit the act at that moment and seizes the opportunity. So basically, this is when someone's walking down the street, they look inside your car, they see something they like, the door's unlocked, whether it's unlocked or not, they're gonna get into your car and take it. They didn't plan it ahead of time. They didn't have some grand scheme to do this. They just saw it. They had the opportunity. No one was around, so they took action. Okay. I think I got a little ahead of myself. Can you go back one slide? Thank you. So, preventing crimes of opportunity. So, in order to try to prevent or really to deter crimes of opportunity, you need to try to limit 3 things. Okay, you need to limit the desire to commit the crime, their ability to commit the crime, and the opportunity to commit the crime. Reducing or limiting these three things can be done without having to put a whole lot of work. It's just really a lot of small things that you can do on a daily basis that make a big impact in making yourself less of a target. So how do you do this? You start by setting your house and your car alarms. Okay. Criminals usually don't want to attract any attention, so they try to get into something and an alarm starts going off. This is going to draw the unwanted attention, and generally they're going to take off. They don't want to be caught. They don't want to go to jail. So next step would be to lock your doors and your windows. Now, it's important to lock the doors of your vehicles when you're not around them, when you're leaving them unattended, if you're parking them outside of your garage in the driveway, and you're not going to be there watching. You want to make sure that those are locked. Most of the vehicle burglaries in our specific area in South Montgomery County, and more specifically the Spring Creek Utility District area, involve a vehicle that has unlocked doors. So if you just lock your doors before you go inside your house or before you go visit your friends down the street, it would really cut down on a lot of the numbers of vehicle break-ins. So if you're inside your house, however, it's important to lock it when you're away, and it's also important to lock it while you're inside. Okay. So home alarm systems. They can be silent alarms or audible alarms. So which one is better? It's really an opinion. It's up to you. However, although the audible alarms are noisy and they can tend to hurt your ears, burglars or people trying to get inside don't like them. Like I said earlier, it attracts unwanted attention, and it usually will scare them away, or make them at least think twice about trying to get in or trying to continue. So they also have other options for alarms. They have or settings, I should say. They have the motion settings, glass shatter sensors to start. Sorry. So the glass shatter, it senses someone trying to break a glass, trying to get into with forced entry, and if they are able to get in your house, the motion sensor will also trigger. Now this stuff, generally when it comes to law enforcement, it will tell us where the motion is sensed inside the house, so we have an idea of where that person might be. Okay, so it's important to evaluate the cost and decide what level of protection you would like. Okay. So again, back to vehicles. It's important not to leave any items in your vehicle. Okay. If you do leave them, if you do happen to leave something, or if you're at the grocery store and you don't really have the option, make sure that you keep them out of sight, stick them under your seat, under your dashboard, in the glove box, in the center console, somewhere where it can't be easily seen through just the windows. Again, very important, and you're probably going to hear me stress this several times throughout this, lock your car doors. This is one of the main reasons why we have this type of crime continuing to occur, is people will leave their doors unlocked, whether on purpose or accidental. It's still one of the main leading reasons for this. So again, make sure your valuables are out of sight of the windows. Some criminals like to do what I call window shop. They'll look through the windows, look for something they like, and then try to take it. Also at your house, so leaving boxes or packaging for maybe a new item that you bought, like a TV or a television. If you leave it out in the trash or out by the trash cans for the trash guy to pick it up, what this is going to do is it's going to tell, a potential burglar or a criminal looking to find something to take, is going to let them know what you have inside your house. They're going to know now that you have a big 60-inch brand new TV, and they may want it. So it's important to be aware of what you're leaving out, that for the public to view. Okay. So items, what do they generally look for? They're generally looking for small, expensive items that can be easily converted to cash. Some examples would be jewelry, small electronics, laptops. In some cases, firearms. And with that being said, it's very important that you don't leave your firearm inside your vehicle if you're gonna leave your vehicle unattended. Okay. So don't tempt a thief. Always keep your garage door closed and locked unless you're inside. Most people keep a lot of tools, lawn equipment, expensive items in their garage. Now, if you leave the door open, it's kind of like a big grocery store for someone looking to steal something. So it's very important to make sure your garage door is closed and to lock it. You'd be surprised at how many garage doors I see being left open overnight without anybody around to really monitor their own belongings. If you have windows in your garage, use curtains or window blinds. Make sure they're shut so nobody can look through. And secure any items of value if possible. Okay. So the next step is community awareness. So knowing neighbor is the first step in crime prevention. And it's really probably one of the most important steps. So, being friendly with your neighbors can prevent more than just, neighbor feuds. It can prevent people breaking into things. If you keep an eye out for your neighbor, keep an eye out for your friends, you're going to notice things, people acting suspicious, hanging around the area. And if you notice that and report it, there's a high chance that you're going to prevent some type of burglary or a theft. Okay. So again, know your neighbors, knowing your community and the people that live around you can help prevent criminals from carrying out their plans. The more people watching for suspicious activity, the more likely criminals can be caught or deterred. So generally, the people that know your area the best are the people that live in that area. Might be a little surprising. You probably think that, the police, they drive around all day long in our area. They should know it better. Well, unfortunately, the people who live in that area spend more time in that area than we do. We have a large area to cover, and we can't always be on your street. So the people who live on your street are going to know what's normal and what's not normal. They're going to know who frequents the area and who doesn't, and they're going to know what's normal behavior for that area. So it's easier for the community to notice some suspicious activity sometimes than it is for a police officer on patrol. And it's important, if you're away, if you go on a trip, have a neighbor or someone you can trust to watch your house while you're away. Okay. So home safety. It's important to have lights at all your entrances. And these are just some of the things that can help deter people from targeting, your house or your car or wherever. You have lights at all your entrances. Motion activated lights work as well. Make sure there's adequate lighting in the front and the backyards. Make sure you have a wide angle door viewer. If someone knocks on your door, make sure you're always looking through your door viewer before you answer the door. Make sure you know who it is or not. Check to see, oh, sorry, I just said that. Use home alarm system if you can. Again, going back to what I said earlier, an alarm going off tends to scare people away. They don't want that unwanted attention. Security cameras can deter people. If they see that there's a camera, they're not going to want to be caught on camera. They have that fear of being identified by somebody and then eventually being caught later on down the road. But on top of that, it can deter somebody. It can also help after the fact. If they do carry it out, it helps, again, identify them for us to continue our investigation and find out who these people are, and so we can make some kind of arrest. And again, lock your doors and your windows. So home security is a layered effect. Okay. So it's also important to reduce any possible hiding spots. And what do I mean by this? I mean trimming some of the brushes or your bushes away from the house, keeping them, I believe, about 3 feet. I think the number was 3 feet in height, about a foot or two from the house or from your windows. And what this does is it makes it harder for someone to hide behind it. House numbers. It's important to make sure the numbers for your house are visible. And what this does is if police do have to come to your house, it's easier for us to find your house. It cuts down on some of our response time, and we won't have to go up and down the street looking for, which house is yours. So again, we don't know where everybody lives. We're not as familiar with that street as you might be. So house doors are important. So they should be a solid, strong door. Make sure you have good locks or deadbolts, and the door frame should also be, well built. And what this does is it helps prevent an intruder from forcing their way into your home. Don't hide your extra keys in an easily accessible area. So hiding keys is something that a lot of people tend to do in case they lock themselves out. And criminals know this, and people tend to hide them in kind of the same areas as everybody else. So they know this. They know where to check. These are the areas they tend to check first. Under rocks, along your walkway, or something near the door. Make it something that makes it a little harder for them to reach, or harder for them to find. If you're moving into a new home or a new apartment and you bought it from someone else that's on newly built, make sure that you have the locks rekeyed. You don't know who the previous owners were. You don't know what kind of lifestyle they live, and you don't want them coming back into your home with the keys that they had and taking all of your hard-earned items. Sorry. Okay. So back to lighting. Good lighting is one of the most cost-effective deterrents to crime. Ideally, a good lighting system would reproduce daylight. Now, I don't know how your neighbors would feel about that if it gets in their windows when they're trying to sleep, but it does deter people trying to get into your house. They don't want to be seen. Okay. So this picture is a good example of what good lighting is. It lights up the whole yard. leaves very little dark areas for someone to use as cover or concealment, and it lights up all the important stuff. So ideally, lighting should produce about 100 feet of visibility. Lighting should illuminate what you're trying to protect. Keep in mind your neighbors. Like I said earlier, you're trying to make friends with your neighbors. You don't necessarily want your light shining in their bedroom window when they're trying to sleep. Okay. So it's a good practice to walk around your home at night and look for places a burglar might hide, behind the AC unit, behind small corners, bushes, behind a shed if you have one, in the backyard. And think about installing lights in those areas that they might hide, especially around all your entrances. Again, this just reduces the areas for them to be able to hide. Okay. Vacation planning. So if you do, like most people, plan a vacation, there are a few things that you might want to consider. So to lower the risk of having any unwanted visitors when you leave for the vacation, have a family member, a neighbor, someone you trust to check by your house while you're away. Make sure all the mail's picked up, placed in a specific area. If you have newspapers being delivered, make sure those are collected so you don't have a big stack of newspapers. Things like this will let a criminal know that you're not home and that no one's watching the house. Essentially, it makes your house a target. So if you're new to the neighborhood and you don't have anybody, you don't have family that lives nearby, and you can't find someone to keep an eye on your house for you, you're in luck. Okay, you can request a vacation watch on the Montgomery County Precinct 3 Constable's Office website. So that website is www.mcco3.org. And so what this does is when you request this, it'll get assigned. Officers will come by daily, check on your house, make sure there's no, broken windows, your door is not kicked in, there's no forced entry, and make sure everything's still good for you. If they do find something, they can contact you and let you know about it. You can and go about it that way. Okay. Situation awareness. So situation awareness can be described as a mental state of alertness that enables you to be actively aware of your surroundings. It's a very important situation. Is very important. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Criminals don't want to be caught, and typically they look for or they target somebody they believe can be caught off guard easily. Okay. So some tips for increasing your situational awareness is staying alert, watch the people around you, any activities going on, know who's in front of you, who's behind you, and how these people are acting. Walk with confidence, keep your head up. Walking with confidence, it tends to deter people because they're looking for an easy score. They don't want to have to fight somebody. They don't want, anything that's going to slow them down. They just want to find an easy target, get something, and be able to turn it into money quick. Avoid isolated areas. Isolated areas make it easier for them to commit their crime without being seen. Avoid taking the same route every day. So if you take the same route to and from work every day, what it does is it makes you predictable. And when you become predictable and you create a pattern, they're going to be able to know what time to break into your house or your car or wherever. And also, if you come the same way down the street to home or leave for work the same way, they're going to know which way to watch. They're going to know which way to keep an eye out for to know when to leave. And if a situation doesn't feel right, trust your instincts. We have a weird way of getting that gut feeling and knowing something's about to happen before it does. And I don't know the science behind it, but typically that tends to be pretty accurate. So it's important to trust your instincts. Okay. So be aware of any unfamiliar people walking through your neighborhood, and report any odd or unusual activity, anything that looks suspicious. So what is suspicious? Some suspicious activity is, individuals going door to door, especially if there's more than one, and one or more of them goes to the back of your house, or loiters in front of an unoccupied house. A person running or carrying something of value or carrying certain property at an unusual hour. For example, it's nighttime and you see somebody pushing a lawnmower down the middle of the road. It's a little suspicious. You see someone hanging around the area, looking into cars, as they walk down the road, going house to house. They're window shopping. They're looking for something to take. Watch out for unfamiliar vehicles driving through your neighborhood several times. Vehicles that you haven't seen before. If they're driving slow, it's nighttime and they're not using their lights, and it doesn't really seem like they're going somewhere. They're just kind of driving around aimlessly. Vehicles parked in an unusual area with more than one person inside. This can also be seen as suspicious activity. Okay. So how do you report something? So for suspicious activity or crimes that have already happened, you're going to want to call the non-emergency number. Or if it's an emergency, you're going to want to call 911. Okay. So how do you contact Precinct 3? You can contact with our office number, 281-364-4211. And if you want to contact me directly, you can reach me at my email, joshua.orr@mctx.org. And it's important that if you're trying to report an in-progress crime or something, please don't send me an email. Please call 911. Okay? Any questions?
Sergeant John Montgomery, I've got a question for you. No one's probably going to ask this, but in the second slide through, you had a man that said free candy. Is that something on stage or something y'all picked up? Just curious.
I didn't hear you, sorry.
The second slide you had, it said a band painted on free candy. Is that something y'all picked up or y'all staged, or just kind of an interesting picture on your second slide, I believe, through? Just curious.
That's not something, that picture is not something that I got from any scene that I've worked. It's just something that kind of fit, it's an obviously suspicious kind of out there, easy for people to realize that, hey, this is obviously not fitting in. It's not the normal. It's a little weird.
I thought it was kind of different to myself. I thought I just asked, so sorry about that. Yeah.
Well, Sergeant Orr, we want to thank you for your time and for the valuable safety information that you provided for us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, and wanted to remind the residents that don't forget that there is a Water Smart event that is going to be at Lockridge Park on November 17th. You definitely do not want to miss this, so come out with the whole family. And now it's time to take a little break and possibly work on tonight's scavenger hunt. Again, the scavenger hunt can be found at the district's website. That's springcreekud.org/National Night Out. After the break, our next guest speaker is going to be from the district's operator, Municipal Operations. And we will reconvene at about 5:10. So in just under 10 minutes, we will be back.
First you both go out your way in the vibe is feeling strong. It was small, turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken. The love will never get lost. And when brothers will come first, and the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own when that line had to be drawn, and that line is what we reach, so we'll never be when I'm gone. How can we not talk about feeling with feelings all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be looking for the last one. Get the light guide your way. Yeah. Hold every battery as you go. I've had the highest mountain, I've had the deepest peak. You can never it open, now keep moving. I'll take it in, but don't look down. 'Cause I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world. We've done this for a while now. I've tried to cut these corners, tried to take the easy way. I kept on falling short of something. I could have gave up then, but then again I couldn't have. I've traveled all this way for something. I take it in, but don't look down. I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world. Waiting on this for a while now. Man, I'm just in the dirt. I've been waiting to smile at the whole thing for a while. Can't you with me if I can? You're dreaming that this is a time. I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world. Waiting on this for a while now. Man, I'm just in the dirt. I've been waiting to smile at the whole thing for a while. Can't you with me if I can? You're dreaming that this is a time. Get up now, get up, get up now. And I'm always trying to calm me down until I'm way up. Get up now, get up, get up now. I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world. Oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said, shine and destiny. This woman is my destiny. She said, ooh, ooh, shine and destiny. We are victims of the night. The chemical, physical, kryptonite. It's too face and fading. Oh, we'll find to get together, find to get together. She took my arm, I don't know how it happened. We took my phone, she said, oh, together, just keep your eyes on me. I said, you're holding back. She said, shine, dance with me. This woman is my destiny.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We hope you were able to find some answers on the scavenger hunt. And now, without further ado, let's bring our next guest speaker, John Montgomery with Municipal Operations, helping to run the operations of Spring Creek Utility District. And John, if you'll take it away.
Thank you, Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to thank Spring Creek Utility District for giving me the opportunity to talk to y'all today about some very important topics. First of all, if we move on, Municipal Operations has been your district operator for the prior 10 years. We've been in business 20 years. I've been in the utility field for water and wastewater for going on 40, coming up on 41 years pretty quick. So it's been a long time for me. We operate your water system, your sewer system, your lift stations, your distribution, your collection system, your water storage tanks. We do your billing and collecting for your district. We operate your stormwater pump station, your big one, Legends Ranch. We operate Lockers Farms, the second biggest one. We all do all facets of utility operations. We have a 24-hour call center. You can call in questions, concerns about utility bill, call in water leaks, call in sewer backups, anything happens in your district, we'll take care of it. Okay. Now we're here to talk about a very important subject. One of the key things I do for your district is water conservation. We're part of a Water Smart program that was initiated in 2001 by the state of Texas, Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, and the Texas Water Development Board. Those are two regulatory agencies. TCQ stands for Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. They regulate everything that we do, Spring Creek does, as far as water, sewer, distribution, collection. We answer them on a monthly basis as far as water conservation, regulatory compliance with wastewater discharges, regulatory compliance with water, sample analysis and stuff. But one thing always today is very important is increased awareness for conservation through drought years. And we've had some drought years of record proportion in several years. This program enables the folks to participate in efforts inside and outside the home, which is very critical. Also allows water utilities to carry out and conduct coordinate regional planning meetings and campaigns to try and utilize our resource together. And that last sentence there is very important. Each citizen, no matter what age, where they live, has a person responsible to use water and use it wisely. So, okay. It's this slide right here. I'm going to kind of stage it for you here. It's develop and practice good habits of water conservation drought year. So I think most of us will recall in 2011, we had the worst drought in history, one probably in the last 50 years. So everything in a dark maroon color is extreme drought. So all of Texas, pretty much 95, 96% is extreme drought. The red is still a moderate drought. So that year, if you recall, we lost a lot of oak trees, lost a lot of things. We had mandatory drought restrictions out in your district, so we asked you to wash cars outside. It was a very difficult year for the state as a whole. So our drinking water tables dropped some 50 feet that year, the static levels. So before I go further on, I'm going to back up 1 second here. And one thing I should talk about at the beginning. So all your water comes from groundwater wells, everything. You take no water out of surface waters, rivers, lakes. And one question our call center's got all the long was is that does the amoeba affect what we're drinking? It does not. The amoeba only lives in surface water, rivers, lakes, and streams. So it's a freshwater organism. So it likes the warm water for sure. So your groundwater comes off the surface and filtered through the ground through minerals, rocks, and stuff like that. So the amoeba cannot come in contact with groundwater supply. So all the water you drink at Spring Creek and consume is out of the ground. None of it comes from San Diego River Authority, Lake Conroe, none of it at all. So the next slide, please. Okay. So this is current we're at. This is September 29, 2020. And you'll notice compared to the last drought, the only people in extreme drought is far west Texas, Lubbock and some of El Paso. So the state as a whole, the left-hand quarter has some drought issues. Everything to the right from North Texas all the way down to South Texas tip is in good shape right now as far as drought. So there is no real water conservation tips. I operate 100 districts, and we have one district that is in stage 1 of drought, and that's only because they lost the water well. A lot of times when the water wells go out, we put you in a stage 1 moderate because we're worried about conservation, that one water will be down and not going to meet demand. Right now, Spring Creek's whole district pumped about 28 million gallons last month. And probably getting about 30 million this month here coming up. And I'm running a month in arrears, so I'm looking at September and October. So it'll start falling off now from November to about March. We'll start pumping less because people stop worrying outside uses. Okay. All right. Very, very important slide. So how's your water use in your home? This is interesting. If you look at it closely, the top left-hand corner talks about 24% flushing a toilet. Sure, no one realizes that much. And I didn't bother this slide. It was high, but 20% flushing, showering 19%, bathing 3%, top right hand corner 4% miscellaneous needs, washing machine 16%, leaks down the far right hand corner 14%, and 1% dishwasher, and 19% faucet. So as a whole, you can see on that graph right there, your main consumers are going to be the leak at 14%. The dishwasher is kind of hard to achieve. We'll talk about that a little further detail, but the toilet itself is one thing that's critical. So right here, we're going to talk about toilet leaks, and probably, I don't know, probably say 3 out of 10 people that call into our office have a toilet bowl leaking. So really easy to detect the toilet bowl. You have dye with you, but you can't hear a leaking toilet bowl unless it's just blowing wide open. So in the back of your tank, there's a flapper valve, and you lift the lid up with the water down lower. The flapper valve lifts up, and shuts it back down. That's its function. It's a rubber neoprene gasket for this. It wears over time. So I highly recommend, so as a manufacturer, change that flapper once a year. So that flapper gets a little wave in it, and a ripple is what it does over time being flushed. And that little wave and ripple allows water to go through it and leak slowly. It doesn't make a loud hiss noise unless it's leaking a lot. So one thing to do to check for that is to have your food coloring It doesn't matter what color, blue, red, yellow, what you want to use. Lift the lid off the back of the tank, put 3 drops in there, let it set for a little bit. If that blue color moves around the upper tank, if the flapper's leaking, it's going to lower total you sit at. So if it turns blue where you're sitting at, you have a flapper leaking for sure. But it's 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10 people calling the toilet bowl leaks. And here's the thing about a toilet bowl leak. Leaking slow, say 1 gallon a minute. It's stuck wide open, 3 to 5. So 1 gallon a minute, that's 14 or 40 minutes a day. So that's just round numbers, 1,500 gallons a day, 30 days a month. That's 45,000 gallons of leakage in 1 month from leaking toilet bowl flapper. It goes where? In the sewer system. You don't get it back. We just bill you for that usage. So those flappers, once you're changed out, are very critical to your consumption water usage. Okay. Yes. All right. So leaks account for 10% of your water bill. So overall, 10% of your water bill. If you have a $100 water bill, on average, you can have 10% leaks. That's 10 or 100 is what that is. So very, very important fix. Frequent check leaks and toilets. We talked about that. Wash machines, always fill your wash machine full. So your wash machine needs a full load of clothes in it. Don't do partial loads. And it goes for the same as with washing machine as well. Lower the level setting, full loads. Efficiency washing machines save 25,000 gallons per load, 25 gallons per load. So if you have an older washing machine that's using 45 or 50, think about changing out. Number one, it's electricity inefficient. Number two, they use a lot of water. So these high efficiency washing machines can save you a lot of water for sure. Turn off the faucet. When you use shaving, I'm the worst one about this. When I'm shaving, I have a tendency to leave the water on in the hot position. So not only am I using water and wasting water, I'm using electricity or gas, whichever I'm burning. So when you're shaving, put the sheet on your face, turn the water off, take the razor down your face, then wash it out. A lot of water can be saved there. About 4 or 5 gallons per shave, 4 or 5 gallons per shaving situation. Brushing teeth, same way. I mean, I'm terrible about that too. My kids were, when they were little, would tell me, "Dad, just turn it off. You're wasting water." Toothpaste and brush it off, wash it out, washing hands. Right now with COVID-19, I'm a big promoter for sure. 20 minutes washing hands, 20 seconds washing hands. So conserve water there. Probably not with COVID-19. Just wash them good for 20 seconds. Taking showers. I'm pretty good about this. I'm about a 5-minute shower guy myself. So I'm probably 11 gallons a minute. I'm in such a hurry. I'm just going fast. And the older I get, I'll be bald in a couple years, you can see. So I'm going to have to worry about that with a rag about my head. So I'll be saving water for sure in a couple years. No doubt about that. What's that bottom one saying? Can I see it? Due to dishwashing water full. Kind of hard to see there. Okay, move down. Outdoor water use can count 30% of total water use in home. So this slide's pretty interesting here. We get this call quite often that, no, you got a high water bill. And we see bills of size 50,000 gallons a month, and people call and say, there's no way you use that kind of water. It's not possible, but it is possible to use that kind of water. Number one, you have an irrigation system and your zones are set to irrigate 7 times a week, every day. That sprinkler system's coming on and you're using 1,000 gallons per night when you're sleeping. That water can be had there. A lot of times that water runs down the street. Next morning you get up, everything's dry. But water is waste on irrigation systems for sure. So 30% loss. Okay. Evaporation. And people don't think about this, but I do quite a bit. So I have a few ponds in my place out in the country here, and they evaporate quite often. But water your grass when the sun is down. So don't start watering grass at noon when the sun's at highest point, hottest, or 5 o'clock. So water when it's down in the evening, 7 to 8, early in the morning from 6 to 7, because evaporation counts for 50% of the loss. So if you're doing watering and you're irrigating in high winds, windy days, it's just going in the wind, blowing away. So you're not getting anything at all for it. So think about that when you're watering. Set your zones to be late in the evening, before 10 o'clock. You don't want to water at night. It can promote mold and stuff like that too. Cause pieces of grass to die off, especially carpet grass. So early in the morning, the sun comes up, low wind conditions, and in the evening hours, same situation. So keep your lawn healthy. And people don't believe this, but I practice it all the time here in the country where I'm at. 1 inch of water per week. Seems like not enough, but it is. You stagger your 3 zones out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and hit those to equal a third of an inch each day. Your grass stay green. Is it going to be a lush, beautiful lawn? Going to win lawn of the month? I don't think so. But the idea is to grass stay alive and conserve water for sure. And I see a lot of people in Spring Creek doing this, cutting their grass real low. It's not good for it. Cut the grass at higher setting. The water will move in the soil better, not burning. It's less water to fly. So cut your grass high, raise your highest setting, especially in the summertime, from probably March to September, right there, the 6 summer months. Okay. All right. So one thing I want to talk about right here is if we close with a couple questions, is we have in your district, we have electronic meters. We're going to talk about this next slide coming down, but I'm going to cover a little more detail here. Electronic meters installed about 2.5, 3 years ago throughout your district. These electronic meters can capture 1/10 to 1/10 a gallon, which is low flow condition. So you have an option to log into a portal and get your information. So you can watch your consumption daily, per day, per month, track your own usage. So we're going to talk about those login portals in a second here, but if you have concerns or questions about your usage, you can call my office, and the girls or ladies will walk you through how to set up your own portal. What this portal allows you to do is track your own consumption. So if you want to set your parameter, for example, 5 gallons per hour, 1 gallon per hour, whatever your usage is, your max you want to see. You set your limits you want to be at, monitor those, so you get a text alert, a cell phone call, or email saying, hey, I exceeded my set parameter consumption. It's a good tool for you to manage your money, manage water usage, and track what you're doing. So you can find out if you're gone away that, if you've got an alert coming across, and we'll laugh about this, but I've been in several situations where customers are gone and my next door neighbor waters my lawn while I'm gone. You can see that consumption now. So if you use 3,000 gallons, you're gone. Track the consumption, you track it. So the electronic system is a great tool to have for you users. Okay.
All right. Thank you, John. That was very informative, and we hope that found some great water-saving tips that will help them as well as the district.
Yeah, any questions about your bill? All right here. Ask me or ask our CSR. They can help you. Thank you, meter's reading right. You don't believe it? Just give us a call. We'll come out and recalibrate that meter and show you how to use it.
It was a little hard to understand what John was saying, but I believe what he was saying is, if there's any questions that residents have in regards to their smart meters, to please reach out to his office, and they will help assist the residents with any questions that they have, and that these smart meters are a wonderful resource and tool for everyone.
We're having some audio problems.
I'm noticing that, yes.
This is Les Gorley. I would also like to mention, I don't know, but a lot of people, once a year, they'll change their batteries and their smoke detectors and things. And that's a good time to put down to change your flapper in your tanks. So it's just a little reminder to help people once a year to go ahead and do it, because it saves a lot of water and a lot of money for the people.
Hey, Les, this is John again. What you said yesterday in our discussion, I forgot to bring it up, but I'll bring it up right here. We had talked yesterday about the fact that a lot of the homes in Spring Creek were initially installed with gas hot water heaters that are about 80 gallons.
Yes.
And those gas hot water heaters, my recommendation and the board's recommendation is, when those get ready to change out, think about the new electronic smart water heaters. They're instantaneous. So you can get those in the natural gas version or electricity to one. When you turn the water on in a regular gas hot water heater, big tank, it takes about 5 minutes for water to get there. So you waste 5-10 gallons of use to get the water coming there. Instantaneous ones on the spot, saving you energy.
And John, I apologize. We've got a little bit feedback on your end. So I do apologize for that. And do appreciate all the feedback and comments that he was indicating on changing out your water heaters over into the new smart water heaters.
Yeah, the tankless.
The tankless, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And residents, again, we'd like to remind and invite you to the Water Smart event that's going to be held on November 17th at Lockridge Farms. And we want to see you there, and definitely bring you and the family, get some snow cones and play in the bounce houses, as well as some Water Smart activities. And there's some wonderful food trucks as well. And at this time, we're going to go ahead and take another 5-minute break. And we will reconvene about 5:35. And so we will see you again in about 5:35.
My discotheque, Juliet, teenage dream. I felt it in my chest. I knew we were bound to be together, bound to be together. She took my arm. I don't know how it happened. We took the floor and she said, "Hold together, right? Just keep your eyes on me." I said, "You're holding back." She said, "Shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny." She said, "Ooh, shut up and dance with me." Keep in your eyes, I think I see the future. I realize this is my last chance. She took my life. I don't know how it happened. We took the floor and she said, "Wouldn't you dare look back? Just keep your eyes on me." I said, "You're holding back." She said, "Shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny." She said, "Ooh, shut up and dance. Don't you dare look back. Just keep your eyes on me." I said, "You're holding back." She said, "Shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny." She said, "Ooh, shut up and dance with me." Shut up and dance with me. Shut up and dance with me. Who it is that you want me to be, I can't be. I can only do me. I can only go where life takes me. Now who it is that you want me to be, I can't be. I can only do me. I can only be how God made me. Yeah. There's only one of me, incredibly, uniquely designed. I keep my focus up ahead and leave my worries behind. I know that any goal I wanna reach starts in my mind. I'm kinda dope cause I'm one of a kind. I like to take my own path, never following the masses. I do my thing, taking risks, taking chances. I see no boundaries, no impasses to living my realized dream, keeping music fresh. You do you, and I do me. Together we'll make harmony. Together we'll make the world go round, 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 round. You do you, and I'll do me. Together we make harmony. Together we may dance differently, but it's all good. I'm easily inspired by the people surrounding me, but still I take pride in my individuality. I might be different from the people in my family, but the truth is their roots keep grounding me. There ain't no mystery to my mastery. I just let myself act naturally. Whatever I dream may not be easy to achieve, but I still believe in equality. So you do you, and I'll do me. Together we make harmony. Together we make the world go round, 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 round. You do you, I'll do me. Together we make harmony. Together we may dance differently, but it's all good. I love the way you do you, no pretense. Heart open wide, no fear, no defense. You got your own style, you got your own reason. 24/7, rock your own uniqueness. And you got me on my knees, you're my sweetness. You doing you is the ultimate realness. This me, you think we got, let's keep this. Loving you is much deeper than the reflex. Reflex, 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 reflex.
Wait a minute, let me stand up for my girls. We never gonna quit till we truly rule the world. Popular folks says we should rule the world. So we gonna march until our voices get heard. Who it is that you want me to be, I can't be. All it is that I'm asking to be is just free. Free to make my choices and raise my voice up. Tell me where my sisters at and make some noise. Come on and sing it with me. Sing ready.
And you do you, I do me. Together we make harmony. Together we make the world go round, round, round. Y'all, there's only one of me that ever will be. Never lonely by myself, so I keep doing me. Never phony, I'm not tripping on how things should be. I just go with the flow, can't free. Who it is that you want me to be, I can't be. Who it is that you're hoping to see, that ain't me. We're just inquisitive kids on a mystic fringe, on a mission to deliver us a happier reality. So you do you, I'll do me. Together we make harmony. Together we make the world go round, 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 round. And you do you, I'll do me. Together we make harmony. Together we make love. We'll make it loud, loud, loud. You do you, I'll do me. Together we make harmony. Together we make the world go.
Hi there, welcome back. And last but not least, we would like to talk to you now about some smart meters. The smart meters are available upon the district's website. And for residents and anybody else that might not know about the district's website, it is an abundance of information that is available to the residents. And here in a moment, I'm actually going to bring the website over and we'll go through the smart meter videos. There's about 4 of them, and they're short, so it's not too terribly long. But then I'd also like to show you some of the other features about the district's website that can help aid you as a resident with any questions that you may have, or things of that nature. And there's also a way for you to be able to communicate with the board if you would like to. And so let's move on over now to the smart meter videos. And here's our first introduction video for the smart meters.
Hello, and welcome on behalf of the Board of Directors for the Spring Creek Utility District. We provide water and sewer services to the Rayford Road, Fox Run, and Grand Parkway areas. We also provide garbage collection services for the residents of the Spring Creek Utility District. This video is to introduce the new smart meter system by Badger Meter installed throughout the district. The Beacon Advanced Metering Analytics Managed Solution brings a new level of utility optimizing information to light. This approach combines Beacon's intuitive AMA software suite with the proven Orion communication technologies to give you greater visibility and control over utility management. Your benefits as a resident are that there will be more accurate meter readings and real-time updates. By monitoring your usage online via the Ion Water web portal or mobile app, there will be no chance of surprise bills. Automatic alerts can be sent to your phone or email, registering a potential leak or high usage. On a district level, it will be faster and easier to read the meters, saving the district time and money, resulting in less wasted or lost water, and better tracking of district usage. The next video in this series will show you how to create an account to start access to your smart meter.
And now moving along on to how to create your account. And as indicated, this is the district's website. And so I will show you how to find this in the future if you would like to revisit these videos again.
Hello, residents. Today we will be going over how to sign up for access to your smart meter. To begin, let's navigate to ionwater.com. Under the Sign In button, you will notice a link that says Create Account. Click that link. The first thing you will enter is your zip code. The next step, you would enter your account number. Make sure to include any dashes that are in your account number in the proper place. Click the Next button. Verify your information is correct. It will say the name that was listed on your account and your water district. Please click the Next button if everything is correct. Your next step would be to enter your name, your email address, and then a password. It's best to have at least 3 of the 4 bars for your password string. Click the I have read the terms of use for this application and agree to the provisions, and then select Next. Once complete, it will send you an email to your email account listed. You will click on the confirmation at the Click Here that will route you back to ionwater.com. You will use the information that you've entered to create your account to sign in for the first time. In the next video, we will be going over how to set up your leak alert. One of the key features of Ion Water is to be able to create a leak alert to help you conserve water. The system identifies a leak as 24 hours of continuous flow going through your meter. If you reach those parameters, the system is able to send you an email or text message, depending on your preference, to notify you of this leak. When you log into Ion Water, the top module on your left is Leaks. You will click the blue button that says Set Leak Alert. Once you click the blue button, the next screen will allow you to set your expected flow time. For residential users, you will select Intermittent Flow, which is already highlighted. Click the blue arrow to continue to the next screen. We recommend you set your leak alert to 1 gallon per hour, as that would indicate a dripping faucet. Usually, a normal typical toilet leak will use about 1 to 2 gallons per hour, and a broken line would exceed that. It's best to be notified of any leaks in your home to prevent any large water bills in the future, and it allows you to be proactive to take control of your water usage. Your next screen will be where you select to enter an email or a phone number. Please enter your email address and then hit the plus sign to drop it to the box below. If you would like to receive a leak alert via text message, click the I symbol on the right and follow the format indicated for your carrier. For example, if your carrier is AT&T, you will enter your cell phone number at txt.att.net. Please use the plus sign after you have entered your format. On the gray box to the right, you will select how often you would like to receive a notification if you have a leak. You can select daily, every other day, or every 3 days. The most common practice would be to receive a notification daily. Please use the blue arrow to continue to the next screen. Our last screen is the preview alert. Please review the information. You should see intermittent flow, 1 gallon an hour, every day and active. A sample of the notifications will be to the right. This is just a preview of what the notifications you will receive will look like if you have a leak. If you have a leak, you will see the below information. It will give you the date the leak has started and the amount of gallons you're using per hour. If you do not fix your leak within 24 hours, it will send you a reminder and let you know how many days your leak has been active. Once you fix your leak, it will send you a notification to let you know that your leak has been fixed. This will conclude setting up your leak alert. Please click the Save button. In the next video, we will be going over how to check past usage.
And I believe John Montgomery and the board of directors would agree with me that it is highly recommended for residents to sign up for this leak alert. It could help save a lot of money from you directly, but also from the district itself. Water is a very precious source, and it will help to save it. And again, if you have not set up for the leak alert, we would highly recommend and encourage residents to go ahead and do so. And now let's take a look at our final video. And this is the overview. So let us begin.
When logged into Ion Water, the first module in the middle that you will see is At a Glance. This is a running 7-day average that compares your previous 7 days to your current 7 days and will give you also a breakdown of your 30-day average over the past month. The arrow indicated in the At a Glance module will let you know if your usage has increased or decreased over the past week. The graph in the At a Glance module compares your usage. You can hover over any of those days and see exactly how many gallons you have used on that day. Your meter. This module goes over your meter reading, the frequency your meter is read, and the next time your meter will be read. The large graph in the center goes over your usage for either the year, the month, the day, the hour, or by every 15-minute intervals. Please make sure you don't see any sudden spikes in usage. On the graph, you can select more options and add in an overlay for temperature and precipitation. We find this helpful to check your rain gauge on your sprinkler system. If you would like to export any of your data into a CSV file, please click the Export Data and select your date range and the interval that you would like to see on that chart. Hit Start Data Export. Once the bar completes to 100%, hit Click to Download Now at the bottom of your screen. If you have any questions over a module, please click the question mark, and it will give you information over that module.
And so if any resident would like to review where these videos again, it can be located on the district's website from their home page. If you're on their home page, you click under water conservation and it's the smart meter information. But I'd like to take a moment now to kind of go over some of the highlights and some helpful information for you on the district's website. On the right-hand side, under the latest news section, is where the district posts information such as meeting information or any pertinent district-related information that they'd like to be able to communicate with the residents. From time to time, they also send out what we call an emergency or a resident notification, and that is either an alert, a text message sent to your phone, and or email. But when in doubt, you can always come to the district's homepage and check out this latest news section for any updates. Would also like to share with you, if you hover over your mud section, it's going to discuss what is a mud. That's a question a lot of residents may have. A lot of residents may know what an HOA is, but sometimes residents aren't familiar with what a mud is. And so this is a great way to learn all about what a mud does and how it operates. And then also about the Spring Creek Utility Board as well, specifically. You've got a chance to meet your board as well as consultants. The consultants are those that help aid the district in its operations in specific fields. There's also a district map, which indicates the boundaries for the district itself, talks about the facilities. There's a way for you to view public documents, any meeting agendas or minutes that you'd like to go back and take a look at. And then moving along, you've got services and frequently asked questions. You want to take a look at garbage collection information, what days, what items can be picked up, so on and so forth. Maybe a way to reach out to the garbage collection company themselves. All of that information is located inside this page. The useful links information page is very helpful for residents. And if we click on this, it's going to give you a list of a lot of the HOAs located within the district, as well as some of the colleges, some hospitals, and so on and so forth. So that is definitely a resource for you to utilize. I'd also like to take a moment and talk to you about the alert system. I know we talked about that just a moment ago. This is a system set up in place by the district to quickly notify the residents in an event a situation has arose. In an emergency situation. There are also times on events and things of such that the district may choose to communicate with you as well. And if you have not already signed up to receive these notifications, we would also encourage to do so. Here you may receive a boil water notice, or you may receive some information in regards to an upcoming event. And it's quick, you can easily and quickly sign up for it, as well as be removed from the system if you no longer wish to. We do ask that you indicate what your subdivision is. If you're unsure, you can simply scroll down and click on the subdivision that you live in if you're unsure, and it will tell you. Additionally, I would like to talk to you about a report a problem. Just like we said, and the operator has said, that water is a very special resource that we have. Wasted water is a bad idea. It's costly, but it's also just very bad. And the district has set up the report a problem in the event that you see water spewing from a pipe, or you see water pooling in an area where it shouldn't. Maybe there wasn't a sprinkler going on that day, that the day is very hot and there's just a pool of water. And the submit problem report will allow you to indicate if you've seen any repetitive pooling or water, if you've noticed a leak. Have you seen any areas that have lumps or they're sunken in? We call that subsidence. And then there's also a section for you to be able to describe the event in more detail, as well as upload any pictures that you have. And this comes directly to the district, and then we'll go directly to the district's operator, John Montgomery, and his team to go out and to investigate. And so we definitely encourage you, if you're not familiar with these services, please come over to the website and take a look. Last but not least, the Contact Us page. If you have any questions and you want to speak to the board, please fill out your name, your email address, your phone number, and send us your question. And that will get read in court in the correct, whether that would be with the operator or the board, any consultant that your question could be answered by, it will get routed to, and you'll be, an answer will be received in a timely manner. And at this time, I'd like to shoot it back over to the board of directors and say thank you very much for this opportunity for us to present all of this. And Mr. Mark Fusco, if there are any let us know.
You broke up there, Amanda. Can you repeat that?
Sure. Is there any message that you would like to share with the residents at this time?
Just that we thank you for joining us on this different type of national night in platform. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Yes, this is Les Gorley. I would like to say that I appreciate taking the time for you all to see what we are doing and what we're trying to do with the years to come. We have a great board. We have a great district, good people, and we're here to do the very best that we can, but we need your help too. So if you have any questions, anything that you're needing to get with the board or John Montgomery, please do that. We're here for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Les. And would also like to let all the residents know to go ahead and send your answers in to us. The prizes will be awarded to randomly drawn winners, and we will notify you by email. Once again, the Water Smart event is going to be at Lockridge Park on November 17th from 4 to 7 p.m. There's going to be a lot of activities, a bounce house, food trucks, snow cones, and so much more. Bring your family out, meet the directors, meet John Montgomery, the district's operator from Municipal Operations, and we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you very much for this evening, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, everyone. Amanda, I want to thank you for doing such a good job tonight.
Thank you.
I mean that. It was very, very good.
I apologize. I don't feel like I'm on it as much as I normally would. I'm actually sick.
Well, I'm tired. We were out today, me and Mark, and so we were trying to do a little bit of campaigning, and I'm tired. I'm ready to go sit down and maybe take a nap.